Welcome to another tea review. I am Ashish and I'm joined by Soham here, and today we are going to be drinking 2004 Smoky Spring Buds Sheng Puerh. So, what do we know about this tea?
Um, well, this tea is made of mostly the buds of the tea, like smaller leaf. But in my experience, the buds they pack a punch.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
can already smell the spiciness on it.
yeah, um, yeah, it's probably one of the most powerful teas in our on our menu. Um,
So I want to use less leaf.
yeah, probably for you. I mean, just with this kind of tea, I think you'll like a little bit less.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. Um, so with the reason why it's referred to as a smoky tea is because there's this thing that happens with Sheng Puerh where sometimes you can get like a smoky cake. And there's a number of reasons why that might happen. But in this case, the tea is high quality, like leaf material is really great. It's, from a pristine environment. And it was made by a smaller producer. And sometimes smaller farms, like you can imagine, say, if you had a smaller family farm, maybe you've been doing it for a while, but you have a more rustic setup than
Right.
than you would if you were a little bit more established, a little bit bigger, had more resources, and then were able to have some systems a little bit more controlled in a kind of just you can imagine if you had more funding, if you had more resources that you could kind of dial in certain processes in a way that to make it more consistent. And but in this case, this is a tea from probably a smaller farm where the processing is also more rustic, but it's since it's so vibrant and so pleasant, uh, and they probably use like pine to fire the walk like for the tea. And when they were processing the tea, especially in the firing, uh and imbued, sometimes when you're a little bit when you use kind of not as low of temperatures but maybe more in the medium temperature, you can get like a kind of almost more of a smoky quality. And with this tea it ends up being more of like smokiness, like a mezcal or a
Yep.
scotch, or a more refined kind of smokiness that is balanced. It's predominant within the brew, but we'll see as we drink it, how you feel about it, how I feel about it. But this was a tea that really spoke to me because I do like smoky teas, but sometimes I've had some Sheng Puerh teas that were so smoky that they were just kind of gross. Like they had like a weird mouthfeel, or like kind of it catched it caught in a way in my throat that it was not pleasant. But this is very smooth tea still with that smokiness coming through. So
Well, I wonder, I'm curious to see thematically what comes up with this tea, because to me, like, smokiness of a tea is all about balance, right? Because if you overdo it, it's going to be horrible. It's like it's damaged at that point. If you cross a certain line, it's just damaged as if the tea was exposed to being in smoke. So I'm wondering if this theme of balance will come up um,
yeah,
while we're drinking this tea.
balance. I like it. I like this kind of foreshadowing. We have not even drunk the tea.
Right.
I'm still warming up my vessel because it's just it's how my morning's been. All right, so let's see here. Did you eyeball it? How much you used?
Yeah.
Um,
And I definitely use less than I would for a tea that I don't feel is so strong, which probably means I just used the right amount of leaf that you're supposed to use, generally.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. What would probably be on instructions if there were instructions?
Yeah, the smell is definitely very distinctive.
Yeah.
Kind of smells like it's like as if like forest fires are burning all around you and you're drinking like a Sheng Puerh and you're getting both scents in your nose.
That's gonna be fairly familiar to probably some
Right.
people.
Everybody
Uh,
in California right now.
they probably did smoke, not smoke.
Like all of their tea is smoked at this point.
Oh, oh, oh.
California would be smoky storage at this
Smoky
point.
storage, yeah, right now for sure. Okay, well, I just rinsed my tea.
Do it for steeping.
So I just did this thing where I did like the most quickest smell, like just like smell, move it away. And with that, I almost picked up more of a minty quality first.
Mm-hmm.
There is for me on the rinse, there is almost like a Christmas type of smell.
Really?
I'm
I
smelling
mean,
the
I see the mint that you're talking about. It's like
yeah.
because it's much more subtle than the smokiness,
I'm
it's kind of
smelling mint.
overpowered.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm smelling is all like a combination of all the things like mint,
Mhm.
vanilla, a Christmas tree in a house, and then like someone's baking something, you know?
Right. That's so we'll call this Yuletide or something
Yeah.
or other. It's gonna be a Christmas
To me,
tea.
the smokiness is really just it's not it's not as dominant as I was expecting in the aroma. There is an overall smokiness, but I feel like it is balanced with the other flavors. It's just it is I would say like it's more smoky than other Sheng Puerhs that I've had, but it's more other things too. So
All right. Well, let's see.
right.
See how it goes.
I really like the smell on the rinse. It's very appetizing to me. I would be like, wow, I'm excited to drink this. Now, these teas can be polarizing. Some people do not like them. Some people really don't like it. Some people don't like
Right.
camphor. I've met some people that are averse to camphor. I love camphor, but this tea is also has a camphor quality.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely distinctive. Soup definitely energizing. It has that the green energy to it.
Yeah.
Not, not like a super young, but like it still has the youth in it.
Oh,
Fire.
yeah. So far, on the first steeping, the aroma comes through in the taste. Like they're very.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
not like I'm smelling one thing and then drinking something else. It
Right.
definitely is coherent.
Transparent.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel almost like an immediate head
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's so far. I definitely feel like a cooling sensation on the inhale, like like a breath of fresh air kind of feeling, but it's not
Hmm.
like overtly energizing for me yet.
Right.
Sometimes when you get that immediate, like, it can be fun, but it's not, I don't think it's the best sign that you have like a balanced tea. But sometimes you might just have such a vibrant tea that it just,
Right. It's kind of like in a relationship, if like the first couple days are amazing,
yeah,
you know, it's just too much too soon. It burns out quick.
well, you got to have enough
Yeah.
in onset, right? Keep going.
Right. It's a balance, right? Here we go.
Wow, I got to
Balance.
come back to this.
I always have to remember with the shungs, because I don't drink them that much, is not to brew them like show. Don't brew them so long.
I mean, you can, if
You
you prefer,
can, yes, but it's
you can do it. If you want to
you're
have the,
poking the dragon.
it's easier if you have less leaf to give yourself that room.
Right.
Uh, but for me, I don't really like to give myself much room. I like to put a fair amount.
Yeah.
But I'm an
My
avid
leaf
shunk.
is probably like up to here, halfway.
Oh wow, that's still solid. I'm an avid shung
Yeah.
drinker.
Yes.
You would never be able to tell.
Right. Yeah.
That was actually, some people call that sarcasm, but that was actually what is called a lie.
It's I don't know what the flavor is. It's like it's a certain kind of spice.
Yeah, even in the smell, I was smelling that when that's what I was trying to describe on the rinse, is that there is a certain spice, and I feel like it's not nutmeg or clove or anything, but it's
Mhm.
akin to something more like that than like a black pepper or
Right.
peppercorn.
Now, I am not an avid Shung drinker, and to me, like the flavor of this spice is like if I was cooking something and I like added that spice in and be like, oh, I put too much in. That's
Mm.
like how it feels on the second steeping right now. It's
Oh yeah, yeah,
like it's the predominant, but as I've been drinking more Shung, we've explored a number of these videos. I don't know if this is, I haven't drank enough to come to any conclusions, but through the ones that we have drunk, I've noticed with Shung, it's more of like you can have the situation where each steeping is like a different tea. So you may be experiencing the spice now on the second steeping, but the third steeping might be dramatically different. Whereas with show, it's more blended. It's more of like the whole experience will fade up and down, but it'll kind of all be coherent. It'll
yeah.
there won't be any surprises, really. Uh, so we'll see if this tea is like that.
For me, um, this it almost has like a floral quality to it.
You're getting floral?
Yeah, I'm getting that spiciness, but I'm getting all sorts of different things.
Yeah. Well, I can get into like a floral, but not like a fresh floral, like
No,
flower leaves that have been
yeah,
wet and dead for a little bit. You know, it's
and
like
maybe it's the color association because it has an orange kind of brew, but like I'm thinking of the way like a marigold flower smells. Like you don't always think when you think floral like marigold or something. You might think like jasmine or
Right. Yeah. Because
or
marigolds have like they have a sharpness to their scent,
then also
whereas roses is round.
yeah. There also is a soft element to it too. I mean, um, they smell a certain way because they're great for like kind of keeping deer out of your garden kind of thing, you know,
Mhm.
like from eating the things. Um, but what else am I getting? It's like I really want to know what that spice is. I want to know. Can you show me?
Can you shun me?
If
'Cause-
you if you know, I quoted a song.
Oh, is that a song?
It is a song.
I thought you were doing a pun on
I
Sheng
want
Puerh.
to know. Can you show me?
I don't know. Yeah, on the third steeping, it's definitely starting to mellow out.
Naturally, on a second steeping, you're gonna get like a actually. If I can pause for a second, I need to turn my oats.
Okay.
This is something that must be done.
And there's definitely a lot of like particulate matter in the brew,
Is it the
like
pollen,
little leaves and whatnot.
the tea pollen, the tea dust?
Yeah,
You know, my oats were starting to smell a little bit toasty, and then that was kind of
the indication.
going along with my tea experience. So this is my third steeping. I used my bigger pot, which is a bold choice, but I knew that I was going to get the most kind of nuanced flavor,
Why is it a bold choice?
just because it's a bigger pot, so
But
it's more
what
tea.
was the leaf? How much leaf did you put in though?
Oh, just like it would be definitely more than what I put in my smaller pot.
Right,
Um,
because to me, a bold choice is to use a small pot because it's a lot. You're with a strong tea, you're making it that much more precise with
oh
a small
well,
pot.
to me that's just it's just less tea, so it's not as
Okay.
for me. I honestly don't mind like a stronger taste. Uh, Sometimes I like to push the edge with these teas so that I can kind of really see where okay that's definitely too much or actually no it's like sometimes you can get more pronounced flavors that you wouldn't pick up normally with that. You could do it with this tea. There's some teas that you just if I wouldn't advise, but I think you could do it. Um, because this tea is still smooth considering the type of tea that it is, the
Hmm.
smokiness and all of that.
Definitely generating a lot of heat for me.
Mm. I definitely find this tea to be very it's definitely a body journey. I feel it's more all around in my body versus like in my head or like I feel how it like it kind of envelops my torso and my shoulders and my arms and uh and there's a specific like almost in the very center of my almost like I don't know if it's my pineal gland or it's like literally right in the center of my head is where the main kind of activation is, I would say.
Interestingly though, it's activating, but it doesn't seem to disturb the mind too much.
No, I feel pretty feel pretty excellent. Full disclosure, we had this tea yesterday, Melissa and I, and we were just we got a lot of things done, you know.
Mm,
While it, some teas can jack you up. Like I don't really have a lot of those teas, but I've had them, and this tea definitely like lights you up, but it does not. It's not a jittery energy, but it definitely, if you want to push through some things or do some things, it will work.
yeah.
Um, I also find that there's this quality with this tea that is similar to some Argentinian yerba mates that I've had because they also sometimes have a smokiness because they age them for a year or two before they put them out,
Hmm.
and it's that herbaceous. There's that herbaceous quality, but still I get like a creaminess. I'm kind of getting more like almost like orange
That's
peel or some kind of
spring bud.
citrus notes now.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how you can see it. Oh, there you go. Spring bud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fine with the buds that you get this more of this body feel. What
Yep.
number steeping are you at? Are you at 4 now?
That was the fourth. Yeah. Which was even more smooth than the third. Definitely rounding out.
Yeah. I just finished my third, but
Okay.
that's happening for me as
I'll,
well.
I'll wait.
Okay, so now number 4. Okay. Yeah, I will say even with the aroma, I experience the softer kind of vanilla.
Hmm.
Used a fair amount of leaf. That's a nice color. Fairly even color.
Yeah, I would say so. Mostly even.
Mostly.
Mostly. I don't see that many different color leaves in there.
They mostly come out at night. Mostly.
What's that from?
That that is from a movie. That is from Aliens.
Uh, it's like
Yeah, there's
trivia.
a
It's
one
like
girl.
trivia day with you.
Yeah, there's this one girl that's just she survived on the ship, and she's describing that how she basically survived because there's all these aliens on the ship. She's like, they mostly come out at night. The way she says mostly is like it's so like oh my god, that's terrifying. But it's so funny. Uh it's October, it's good for a little bit of little. This is also good. This tea is on brand for October, let's say that. Like um the color, it's very, it's got a nice Halloween color. It's got a
Right.
nice orange. I do find that, orange is associated with that kind of the third chakra, the getting going forth, using your will, getting things done. I do
Burning
find
stuff.
that this tea brings about that kind of energy, but it's also very, I feel relaxed and kind of smiley about it. So,
Mhm.
it's a whistle while you work kind of. There's another movie quote. So,
Yeah. That could be the name. Whistle while you work.
okay. Melissa's laughing up there. We have a kind of a loft bed, so that's why I said up there.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not weighing.
It's like, what do you mean up there? Oh, up, up in the
Yeah.
clouds. Okay, so I'm catching up to you slowly but surely. It's definitely getting more creamy.
Mhm.
I must say, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think this is the kind of tea that you bust out, um, the way that you would bust out like a fine scotch. You
Mhm.
probably wouldn't bust it out every day, um, but you would definitely bust it out. You know when you need it. It's like, it's like it has a very specific quality where I noticed the other day. I was like, so I had this tea a while ago, and I was like, wow, it kind of stuck with me, right? Because it has that pronounced, distinct energy, and I was like, man, I'm kind of craving that smoky tea, Um, maybe it's what people feel like when they want to smoke a cigarette or something. I don't know. Like I want a smoky something. Like I want to burn. I want to burn some sage right now. Maybe that's what it is. It's like it's like incensed quality.
Yeah.
Number five, you ready?
Yep.
And this tea is warming me up nice too.
Yep.
I'm not sweating. I mean, you're in Florida.
Right.
I guess you're in like more of a tropical situation. It's kind of been colder and rainy up here in Washington, so I'm pushing this steeping a little bit more.
I.
Oh, well, we can't say we haven't had fun, right? Ah,
That's it.
it looks like. Do you have a fan on?
Yeah.
It's cool because that image behind you, it's like
You can.
shimmering.
Yeah.
The reflection of the fan. It's pretty cool. It looks like it's just like
Yeah.
it's kind of how I feel right now. It's like jazz hands. There we go again.
Mm.
I'd say like this is my favorite one so far.
Well.
Steeping five. Be on the lookout,
Oh,
everybody.
you mean the favorite steeping?
And if it was a Harry Potter film, it would be the Order of the Phoenix. It'd be the steeping. I think we should have a tally. We should have like an edit, like we're a tally of how many times I quote a song or a movie. The little icon.
Yeah. I think it's 5 at this point.
Yeah, that's
One
good.
for each steeping.
Your
I'm
roses look
tolerant. I'm tolerant of this tea.
tolerant. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's like just not like speaking to me. I mean, it feels like medicine, you know. So there's definitely like favorable aspects in terms of how it influences
Oh.
the state, but it's not pleasant for me to drink it in comparison to other things.
Yes. So, if you were to not compare, it might be better.
Well, how can I, whether I'm comparing directly or not, my preferences are based on comparison,
Maybe we
right?
should go with the no comparison.
Well, let's just don't use the word comparison. It's preference, right? It's a
Yeah,
profile.
yeah. I'm
It's a
just
profile that I don't typically gravitate towards.
well. I know. I knew this. I know that. So it's this
No,
is why
I know. You know.
this is why we didn't start with this tea, right? Um, I do think that this is a valuable tea to experience. Um,
I agree.
however, however, I will say that this is not a tea for everyone. It's not like a, there's some teas that I feel like most people could get down on, like the mountain moss that we have, forest spirit. I
Right.
mean, I think most people could enjoy light of
The one
day.
we drank, the 1995
Oh yeah,
on.
that's probably one of the most everyone can enjoy that tea. I think that we have.
Yeah.
I
What
think
do we call it? We call it
the secret of happiness.
Secret of Happiness. Yeah.
I mean, even that title, it's like, well, actually, I do. I would like to know the secret of happiness. So let's try it out.
Right.
So with that said, if you
Yes.
I don't know if it's always the best thing to name something if you don't prefer it. It's like kind of like if you had an animal and you're like, well, I don't really like this dog, but this is the dog I'm gonna have. So
But whether you like something or not, if as long as the name's accurate, it should be fine.
that's true.
As long
That's
as
true.
like, because I know that this is a good tea. You know, uh, it's not. It's like I said, it has favorable influences. You know,
Sure.
like it's moving energy, it's providing energy, it's clarity of thought. It's not messing with the. It's not disturbing the mind,
Yeah.
and it's clean. Um, it's complex. You know, so it's a good tea, no doubt. Um, so it's just like the way that I started was it's not speaking to me. And
Mm.
then I guess that's the most pure thought. Like it's not speaking to me. It's not sharing it's not sharing certain wisdoms that I can get from other tea. And you know, the thing is there's so many variables. It could just be the day. But and yeah, it could be a lot of things.
It's telling me to tell you to just to just wait and see how the rest of your day is.
Okay.
I think some of the in talking about comparisons and preferences, this tea is more similar to our was it the path of excellence?
Path of
We have a lot of
greatness.
there. The path of greatness. Yeah, sorry. We have lots of like the da 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 of da da da, like portal of miracles, the
Right?
path of greatness. This tea is more similar to that, where it kind of is a slow burner, and certain
Well,
things are
also you
promised.
mentioned it's not an everyday tea. It's a very uh, like it is medicinal, right? Because yeah, I can feel that there's an influence that'll unfold over time. And taking medicine isn't always pleasant, but if you get used to it, it's no big deal.
You know,
But
yeah,
with that said, this I know that this flavor profile is a good representation of something, and people will like it. Will like it. Like you said at the beginning, it's a polarizing tea.
yeah. Some people really like white teas, right? I know a couple people where white tea is a regular thing for them. Is not a regular thing for me, but if I know I need a certain thing to happen, like for instance, I need to work through something emotionally, um, go into the white tea, or I'd go to this tea. I think this tea would really help um, because I feel how it's very opening.
Hmm.
It also is almost kind of, I feel how it's moving energy almost like that could be classified as emotional. Like I feel how like there could be emotions. Like for me, I tend to kind of like to be in a general uh, almost more neutral state emotionally.
Yeah.
I prefer aloofness, um, and that's what helps me stay positive, is kind of having more of a detached quality. But sometimes then the emotion, I'm not always able to like be like, hey, like, oh, hey, I
Yeah, I
love
mean,
you.
it has that energy of, like those birds who have like the really long beaks and they put them in the pine cone and then open them up to get the nut with their tongue.
Love.
It kind of like has that.
Can you send me a picture of that? That sounds awesome. That's what we
Well,
should name the tea.
yeah, these birds are specialists at prizing the seeds out of pine cones. So they have very special beak that sticks in, so it has very small, sticks in and then it opens up so their tongue can get the seed. So to
Wow.
me, like, that's that like when you were talking about the moving of the emotional energy, it kind of has that like it gets in easy and then opens up. Like it makes that opening wider after it having inserted itself in a way.
Okay, and so you said that it's not, the tea's not speaking to you. I feel like
Well,
I was
we're
spoken
having
to.
this conversation.
I was
So,
just spoken to. I feel like I was just spoken to.
well, it's kind of like it's a starting point for conversation. This isn't speaking to me, and then we start talking about it, right? So
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what is what comes.
I
But
love
yeah,
that. It's like a backhanded, like, it's not a slap, but it's kind of like a, when you go like this, like that's awesome though. Like I've seen you know hummingbirds that have like super long, like even longer like certain ones that like birds that have evolved to have like long beaks for specific purposes, but I didn't know about that, like getting the prying into the pine cone. That's pretty
speaking of
amazing.
pine cones, which you mentioned the pineal gland earlier, but another thing about pine cones is when they're heated, they open. So it's basically a mechanism of evolution of the pine tree to survive forest fires, right? Because it drops the pine cones, and then if a forest fire happens, it opens them so that it reseeds itself. So these
Really.
themes of fire again,
Mhm.
coming up, fire being a mechanism for transformation. This tea is very fiery in
Yeah,
terms of it generates heat, which has a transformative effect.
but I don't feel like it's a like a it doesn't feel like super pitta to me, but maybe um
Well, it's pitta, but it's not like, I don't think it's out of balance.
no, it's it is, if it would be a spice, it's a warming spice.
Yeah.
But it
It's not
also,
a chili. It's
no,
like a ginger. It's like a ginger
yeah,
quality. It's not
because
like a
ginger's both. Ginger can be cooling or heating. It's kind
right.
of, it can be both. I feel like there's a, when I inhale, there is that cooling sensation.
Right.
It is also why I have already, we haven't named this tea, but I selected the not these rune, which I can bust it out right here so you guys can see for this tea, because I was just like, oh, okay, smoky fire. I just kind of put that there, and I was feeling that for this tea. But having drinking it, I do feel this energy. Another name for it is need fire,
Mhm.
need hyphen fire, and it's basically the rune of necessity. Like, when you need to make a fire, you need to make a fire, and then you're kind of within the necessity is the energy of like what needs to be done in any moment to further on. And I feel like that what you were saying about the pine cone is the perfect example of that. It's like the trees have evolved to like account for like the fires, which some fires that happen, especially fires that happen that are naturally occurring, that they happen for a reason, maybe reasons beyond like what we can fully know, but there is a clearing aspect to fires, and they can be very destructive, but also the new growth that comes from those wildfires can be like
It clears away all the
great.
old debris.
And it takes time, it takes time. And but what I noticed with this tea is that especially when I had it yesterday, and I'm feeling it now where like it's kind of more, it's more creative. Like there are different kind of ideas that
Hmm.
it's not, I'm not full of thoughts. I actually don't really have any thoughts right now.
Right.
It's just, there's space and there's openness to where cool things can come in. Like, oh, that's a cool thing. I feel like this too would be good for ritual, or if you had a longer, like if you were doing a puja, or like an hours long thing, that where you needed to kind of be in a state of openness, uh, like whether you're having a new moon, full moon circle, maybe like, or something more like if you have a work project and you've got to like sit down for 3 or 4 hours. I think
Which
this
I have to do after this.
oh really?
Yeah.
Do you have to do some coding or something, or do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this
I
would be
feel like
really,
I feel like it's going to be supportive.
and that's what, if we're talking about medicine, medicinal, I feel like that's the kind of medicine is. It's like I was referring to as kind of lighting the fire under your ass to to get the thing going, to get it done. And yesterday I had a lot of things I had to do, like in many different, I had 3 meetings. I had like my work and then my other work. So I had like at least, I had lots of things. And then of course I have like a 4 month old. So there was just a lot of things that I was doing. But the whole time I was just like, yep, just like, I
Yeah.
don't like to be full of thoughts. I don't like to be thinking about what I'm doing next while I'm doing something. I like to just be, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and present. I think this tea could be really helpful for that.
Yeah, as a medicine, it kind of reminds me a little bit of triphala.
Oh,
Like, you know how like triphala is like not a pleasant, you know, but you get used to it. And then you develop a like kind of an affinity for its particular flavor. But it's just like Ayurvedic medicines, like it's like as soon as it touches your tongue, it's already doing the work, or as soon as you smell it, it has that level of power.
yeah, Truffaut is pretty amazing.
Yeah. So it has potency to it, which I think is that sharp thing that inserts itself. But then it definitely, you know, softens um, once the channel is open.
Truffaut is a
Oh,
combination
yeah,
of three,
it's a
right?
very, let's say at this point, okay, it's definitely a very intriguing tea. It's
Intriguing.
not it's not so straightforward.
No, it's not. I've had smoky teas that are mostly, what you could say about them is that they're smoky. Um, this tea is I'd say fairly complex. I think there's a refined aspect to the smokiness. I think it's very I think it's a compelling tea. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
compelling, good word.
Compelling is a good word. Intriguing, invigorating. Um, yeah, I think there's a playfulness to it, um, and I the main aspect that I like about this tea is that it's memorable, like it's distinct, to where in my tea memory, like this tea is gonna stick around in my tea memory. Like, oh, you know, Ashish, remember when we had that smoky buds tea? Like, but
Hmm.
this is the kind of tea I feel that it's nice to have more than once, because then you can kind of get to know it a little bit better. And like there's things that will stick out to you the first time, but it's nice to have it a couple times, because I feel like the main the main thing about this tea is there's an experiential quality to it. The energy of the tea kind of unfolds over a longer period of time. And so I think it would be cool. I think honestly, just getting a 30 grams of it is enough to have it like 3 to 4 plus times. And then you can really get well, all depending on how big your pot is, you could probably
Well,
have
this is, I have 15 grams here, and I definitely only used half of it. So if you have 30 grams in it, this is a 105 milliliter pot. you've got at least four
Yeah.
pots, but you can have more if you want it not as strong, or less if you want it stronger. But probably making it stronger would be not a good idea. But whatever.
You might want to try it at least once.
This is real. This is strong for me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not too strong, but it's like
It's strong. It's a strong tea. It's strong
it's
for me too.
significant. Yeah.
I mean, it was strong for me and Melissa yesterday. I mean, we had a bowl tea style yesterday, so my side handle pot is actually pretty big, and I went for it. I don't
Yeah.
know how many grams I used.
Right, but the strength, you can't separate the strength from the benefits, I don't think. Because one of the thoughts that kind of went through to my mind as like experiencing the different steepings and liking the forced steeping onward more because of the smooth, I was like, okay, well with this tea, I just need to come in later. But the thing is, it's because of those
Yeah, yeah,
earlier steeping. I mean, that would be fine,
yeah,
but you'd be missing part of it, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I'll just come into the movie when it's like Two Towers. I'll just come in like 40 minutes in, you know.
right. It's
I'll just
like the
come in when
reason
they're fighting the spider or whatever.
The reason you listen to the Zen master is because he hit you over the head with the bamboo stick. You can't just skip the part where he hits you. You're not going to listen in the same way.
Oh man, I can't skip the Zen stick. Bummer.
No.
Well, sometimes it just feels so good, right? When
There should be like an AI Zen stick.
AI Zen stick. Oh my
It's
God.
basically like in your house somewhere and it learns over time when to hit you.
Whoa, that
You
would
don't
be
know.
that, that sounds terrifying. Maybe because I've watched too many
All right.
movies like with like Tony Stark. AI's gone rogue. You wouldn't want that thing to go rogue.
Uh,
That's funny.
it was funny.
I, I really do actually like the concept of like artificial enlightenment. It's just like AIing like um you know
That's actually already a thing.
it is,
It's,
yeah, it is.
yeah, where people say that there's something, but they're not, whether it's enlightenment or something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's
And
on
usually if they're saying that they're the thing, then they're probably not.
you mean like, oh, I'm a shaman?
I don't know, whatever. Scratch that. It's too complicated to get into because
It's too
it's not, whatever.
well, it is not. It's fine, I think a tea like this could help one have the discernment of whether or not that's for you or not, because I think ultimately what anyone else is doing, it could be intriguing or compelling, but it's not necessarily what any of us as individuals are doing. So I think taking the focus inward, like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I don't necessarily need to focus on what I'm not into. I can focus more about what is like going on for me, and what because it could be intriguing. Oh, why am I averse to that situation? Like, I think it makes sense why I would not be into the I am this, I am that kind of thing. But
But though, even in the stating of that is it's the same exact thing though.
hmm,
That's the tricky part, you know, because there's always identity. I mean, it's the trick is to have an identity, but not be too identified with it.
oh yeah, it's like the secret to happiness, right? With the oil
Yeah,
and the spoon.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to report that I am love this tea. Um, and I'm not too attached to I am loving this tea. but I do I do like it a lot. Um,
Yep.
I appreciate it for what it is, and
It's definitely worthy of being in our collection.
I honestly, it's really sweet now. I think I'm on steeping 7 or 8, and it just kind of keeps getting creamier, I notice. And you, I feel that you can push the steepings as you go on, like kind of just steep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
longer.
Like I'm
It,
still
yeah,
steeping this.
yeah,
Yeah. And you kind of have to. I mean, you don't have to, but in order to maintain the color, you kind of have to brew it
yeah.
longer.
Yes, it's necessary.
So, is there anything else that we have to say about this tea? Because we're an hour in at this point.
Wow. Um, I'd say try this tea. Um, it's very unique. I don't think there are a lot of teas like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be really great. I find this tea, you could have a nice solo journey with it, but this is the kind of tea you want to share with somebody. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
I think more things can come out of sharing this tea. Unless you want to really have like a nice treating yourself private. It's kind of like if you were gonna have a night in and be like, you know what, I'm gonna bust out my mezcal or I don't know, whatever it is. But like, you might not always do that, but you might, if you're taking yourself out on a date night, this would be a good tea for this. But I feel like I would prefer to have a date night with somebody like my partner with this tea. I feel like yesterday we had a date day with this tea. So yeah, I feel like there's a quality to this tea that could um, it would be good for collaborating.
This is the name. This is the name. It's just.
I feel like I've seen pictures of people like they're like this, like smart people, like successful smart people that are
Well,
like,
it's called steepling. It's more
oh
like
really?
this. It's a certain body language trick that power quote unquote powerful people use. It's called steepling. It implies a certain thing that powerful people want to imply.
Oh wow, cool. Now I know that I can imply it.
Which interestingly enough is also the same shape of the beak of the bird.
Implications of power.
Well, it's not implications. It's just like you
Yeah, yeah,
you appear to be. It's a mudra. It's a mudra, really,
yeah,
right? Because you're putting all the fingers together, representing all the energies, and pointing them in a certain direction. I don't know the science of it, but there's probably like something in the mudra literature about it. But yeah, in body language stuff, it's called steepling, and politicians do it a lot
yeah.
on purpose.
On purpose. On purpose steepling.
It's
I like calling
steepling
it
on
steepling.
purpose. This tea is called steepling on purpose.
Yeah, there's no shortage of names with this tea.
Right. No shortage of names could be another name. Um, cool. Well, I think we're demonstrating at this point that there is an energy that continues to go with this tea. So we're going to forcefully cut because otherwise we'll use all that energy in a 2 hour long video,
Yeah, yeah,
which we're not going to do. So thanks.
yeah. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. See, but when you do it like with your face behind it, it looks like it's different. It's a different type of thing. It's like if you do it down here, it's one thing, but if you do it like this, it's like
Well, I just feel like I've seen like something Steve
this is
Jobs on like
yeah, this is like nefarious or
like
something.
well, you know, I mean, sometimes those guys are like, you know, they're like, haha, like, you know, so but for me, my intentions are like, haha, you know. So
Yes. Okay.
that's another good one. Intentions of haha.